Hello, everyone. This is Bridget Stewart with the Inner Estate, and I'm so pleased to have as my guest today Jonathan Leach, CEO, Rainmaker, amazing real estate agent out of Joplin, Missouri, and Northwestern Arkansas. He is the founder of the Jonathan Leach team. Jonathan, welcome to the Inner Estate.
Yes, thanks for having me.
We are going to talk today about such an exciting topic. Jonathan, you've built an amazing team, an incredible real estate business. Give us an idea of how much real estate your team will sell this year.
Yeah, so we will end up probably around 165 to 175 in units,
Right.
and we should be around the 40 to 45 million mark in volume.
Excellent.
So that's where that's where we're projecting.
Well, I think that's incredible results for any team. What I wanted to share with our listeners today is that you have a very unique element to your history in real estate that I want to share with everyone. How
Okay.
old were you when you started in real estate?
So I started in 2010 and I was 18 at the time. So I was actually 17 whenever I took the real estate course, and I had to wait till I
Mm-hmm.
was 18 to take the exam. A lot of people ask me, they're like, well, did you have any family that sold real estate before? Like, what made you want to do, like, did you follow someone? And I said, no. I mean,
Right.
this, I didn't have any family history of it. I mean, everyone did their own thing. So, I mean, no, this was something I knew early on that I wanted. I mean, and when I say early on, like I don't know, probably 10 when I knew I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to sell real estate. I was just so intrigued with real estate. I collected real estate magazines uh, because I loved houses. I liked looking at all the new listings, and you know, 10 years old, I knew every real estate agent in town because I was watching the real estate market.
They were
I
your
was,
icons,
yeah, I
right?
mean, I was like,
You
this is what I
probably
want
had
to do.
favorites.
Right. I was like, this is
Yeah,
what I
you
want
probably
to
had
do.
favorite ones, and
Yeah.
you probably had some where you liked the marketing and some where you didn't.
Exactly. And I knew what agent would leave what company and would go to different brokerages. And because I watched all that, like it's kind of weird. But I was like, I knew this is what I wanted to do. And I had family that was like, no, no, you need to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
And no,
And you were like, no.
this is what I wanted.
By the way, one of the most beautiful things about our industry, you don't have to go to college
That's
and you can
absolutely right.
actually still build and own a huge business. So
Absolutely.
I just want to go back for a moment. You knew that you loved real estate, not
Yes.
just houses, but even agents. You even found the people fascinating.
I just thought it was a cool industry to be a part of. Yes.
Were you still a senior in high school? So did you actually take your licensing class while you were still a senior in high school?
Yes. I was still in high school when I was taking the class. It was an evening class, so it actually worked out perfect. I would, as soon as I was done with school, I would go to the 3 hour class that was from 6 to 9 in the evenings, and it was for 2 weeks long. But yeah, I was still in high school whenever I took the course.
And then you had to wait. And so you scheduled your exam. Was it like on your 18th birthday or soon thereafter?
It was like a couple weeks after I had to freshen up on it because it had been a few months since but yeah, as soon as I turned 18, I basically, yeah, within a couple of weeks after I passed and started working immediately.
So I know that some people listening to this, and there's so many aspects to this that I want to dive into. One question I think a lot of people will have is, so did you work another job so you had some income while you started selling, or had you saved money so that you could just start selling right away? How did an 18-year-old, recent graduate, how did you navigate that part of it?
For sure. I mean, luckily I was still living at home with my
Hmm.
parents, so it wasn't like I had rent or a mortgage. So it actually worked out fine to where I could start immediately. But I mean, as soon as I got licensed, I had my first closing within 45 days. So I was able to start getting into production right away. Like there wasn't a huge lag time for me getting licensed into starting to get
And having
income.
a contract. So,
Right.
what office did you join as soon as you got your license?
I looked at a few different brokerages here locally, and I ended up picking Keller Williams. That was who I felt at the, that was for training purposes, and they had a pretty strong presence here locally. So I was like, you know what? I thought, well, maybe I should go with a smaller brokerage, and maybe they would devote more time to me. But I ended up sticking with Keller, and I'm glad I did. I'm still with the same company.
Yeah, you're with Keller Williams Elevate, and
Yes.
you've built a thriving business there. I am curious. Can you share with us what are some of the things that you recall? Because I guarantee you had to have people that questioned you or attempted to maybe limit your belief in yourself. What are some of the things that happened? 18 years old, you're at KW, you're like, I'm going to crush this thing.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that other people would say to you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was just I feel like I had pretty good support, being here with the company, at the time there was this training called Bold, and it had just
Yes.
started. I think 2010 may have been the first year it rolled.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And someone or the team leader at the time was like, "You know what? I really think you should try this. Give it a shot. It's pretty intense, they say." And at the time, I think we had like 50 agents that had signed up from our office. So I was like, "Well, that'll be good. At least I'm not going to go alone." So I mean, so I feel like that helped, definitely kickstart helping, what to say, like getting the scripts and learning the dialogues and having the conversations.
Yeah,
So taking that was in August of 2010. So I was, a couple months after I started. So that helped
it
tremendously.
does.
And I've taken it every year since then. But I mean, yeah, I mean, you're going to get all kinds of feedback from people. You're going to get the negative, the positive. I mean, I had family members tell me, no, this is horrible. You shouldn't do this. Growing up, even, we had a family friend that was selling real estate, and I think this was like in 2005, 2004, when I thought the market was good. I guess it was bad.
Good.
I don't know. But
It was good.
it was good. Okay. So she was like saying, well, I'll be lucky if I sell one house a year. I was like, well, how bad could it be? So yeah, I mean, I did, you get the negative, but I wasn't allowing it to stop me. This is what I want to do. So
Right. How critical was your mindset and your confidence? Had you been working on that, you know, even before you were 17, where you're like, I'm going to do this. It might be a little bit out of the ordinary and no one's going to stop me. Like, when did you get that resiliency and that mindset of y'all can think whatever you want. I'm doing this and I'm claiming this
yeah,
success. Like,
I feel like it's constant. It's constantly evolving. I wouldn't say I was 100% confident, but I know that if I wanted to be successful, I had to show up. Like it
right.
was all about showing up every day.
Yes.
Because at that age, I wasn't really sure what to expect. My real estate instructor, this is what, because I think he had been selling, or he previously had been selling real estate for maybe 30 or 40 years. He was a
Hmm.
Century 21 owner.
Okay.
And he's like, if you want a listing, call it for sell by owner. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was like, I wonder what that means. But so as soon as I got licensed, I just started calling for sell by owners. I did not know what I was doing. I
Right.
just knew I needed to call them and try to convince them into listing. And that was my
Yes.
very first two listings were for sell by owner listings. I had no idea what I was doing. I just showed
That's
up
amazing.
and they chose me. Surprisingly, I didn't know what I was saying, but I got my feet wet, and then I went on to the next appointment and the next, and you just start building confidence that way. And then I started going after the expired listings and the canceled listings, and I always made sure I got up at 7 a.m. because at that time in 2010 there was a lot of expired listings,
Oh, yes.
not like it is
Right.
today. So there was always a
Right.
list of expireds to call, and I always
Yes.
made sure I was the first agent that they would hear from. I would always call the seller like at 7:30 because I knew there was someone else going to be waiting to call at 8. So I wanted to
That's
make sure
right.
I was the first person. So that's how I built a lot of my business because I didn't know anyone. I was 18 years old. Like no one that I was going to school with was buying houses, so I had to basically start from the ground up.
I
And
mean, it's just,
I'm from a small town in southeast Kansas. And
okay.
so we moved to as a family, we moved to Joplin. I didn't know anyone in Joplin. So it was almost like moving to a different
A whole new
town.
town.
I didn't know anyone. I didn't go to school with anyone.
Right. So you didn't even have the benefit really of
No,
like knowing the parents of your best friends, like because
absolutely
you were
not.
fresh in town. Which town in Kansas did you grow up? Let's give a shout out to your hometown.
Small town called Girard, Kansas.
Gerard?
Girard, little, 3,000 population, small country town.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is, I think it's fantastic because it sounds like right out of the gate, you decided that you were going to show up. You were going to show up at 7 a.m. You were not going to let anyone interfere with the decisions and plans you had made.
Right.
One of your trusted decades in the business advisors said call for sale by owners, and you said okay, and you trusted and you did it.
Yes.
I'm going to take a guess. I believe you showed up with energy and enthusiasm.
Yeah.
One
For
of
sure.
my key mentors since 1999, he would always tell the seasoned agents, better watch out for the new agents coming in because they show up with energy and enthusiasm that attracts the clients. And you can have market share, marketing materials, you're in a fancy suit, beautiful car, but you don't have energy and enthusiasm, and they're going to get some of the business. Maybe not all of it, they're going to get it. Clearly, you did that.
For sure. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember showing up because when I first started, I wasn't really sure. I was in shorts and flip flops. And I remember someone here in the office kind of pulled me to the side and was like, you know what, I think you should, and I didn't take it the wrong way. I was actually kind of glad they did tell me and had that
Yeah.
conversation. And they're like, if you want, start dressing differently, dress for success basically, because you're going to attract the people you want to work with. So at that time, I started wearing ties every day.
Nice.
I don't
I
do
mean,
that so much anymore, but I'm glad that person had that conversation with me.
I am too. Yeah. I was actually going to ask you about that because I know when I've worked with other younger agents through the years, we talk about that right out of the gate. I'm like, there's that first impression factor. And the reality is for most people with most faces, if you're dressed, you appear older. You appear a little bit more polished and together. And in that first impression, it is going to have the client feel more confident in you, right?
Right.
As they meet you, right?
And
So
you could be
I'm
a brand new
thrilled.
agent. Yeah, and you can be a
Yeah,
brand new, never have a sell under your belt. I mean, you know what I mean? And if you just show up and present yourself, they're going to immediately feel comfortable,
that's right. So
trust you.
you had a couple of things working in your favor. You were showing up in a shirt and a tie, and you had energy and enthusiasm. So I'm really not surprised that you ended up having a decent conversion rate right out of the gate when you were still, like you said, like a probably not even totally sure in
Yeah.
everything. You knew what you were doing because you had your license, so you knew all the skills. But in terms of those nuances of communication, you were still
Right.
developing that.
Yeah.
And you carried through by showing up, having energy and enthusiasm, and then also presenting yourself, not to fool anyone, but I am an accomplished, I may be 18, and yet I have my wits about me and know how to dress myself in the morning as a professional, successful businessman.
That was one thing though. I would always get nervous if they would ask me my age. Up until I
Mm-hmm.
turned about 20, I didn't really want to tell my age because I didn't want people knowing how young I was at the time. I was like, oh no,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully they don't ask.
Right, right. Isn't that so funny to say that now? To put
Yeah.
it in context, you were selling houses and a lot of houses and listing houses, not just working with buyers, before you were legal to drink.
Right.
Yeah. So you couldn't I guess you could not purchase bottles of champagne as closing gifts
Nope.
for the first 3 years of your career.
Exactly.
If you look back and think, is there anything that you think you may have done differently?
So, yeah, looking back, if I go back to even the first 3 years or 4 years of my business, if I could have changed something, it probably would have been hiring leverage early on instead
Mm-hmm.
of waiting. Because the first 5 years, I was literally doing it all.
Right.
Like I was the admin, I was the sign person, I was the photographer, I was the buyer's agent, I was the listing agent. I was doing it all. And
You were the database creator and manager.
I actually
The
didn't really have a
marketing
I
manager.
didn't have a I wasn't putting my contacts in a database on a regular basis. So, I mean, I had to go back and clean all that up like years later and find people because I was doing it all. And so if I could go back, it would have been hiring leverage early on
Mhm.
to just take something, or at least a showing assistant, because there was a lot of times I was so listing driven that there was buyers that I was letting fall through the cracks. I was getting all
Right.
these sign calls, and I would just there was probably a lot of buyer business that I just let fall through because I didn't have time. Because I think at that time, at least for the first 5 years, I think my business was 70-30, and it was all listings.
That's great.
I wasn't doing much buyers because I just didn't really have the time.
That's right. And I'm assuming you probably prioritized buyers that were your sellers. So they were selling their
Right.
current home, staying local, and buying
At that
another,
time, I had a lot of
downsizing or upsizing
repeats
or
where they
moving
were
to another school district or whatever.
selling
Yeah.
and staying local and buying again. And
So, and it's interesting you say that. I fully support that. At the time that you came in 2010, 2011, into that first 18 months, there was a little thing happening in our industry in our country. The recession had started.
right.
I do feel like the coasts may have been hit the hardest, or metropolitan areas, but I'm sure you all still felt it in your own way.
Yeah.
The only reason I mentioned that is during that time, there was a real trend in the industry for agents to do everything themselves. So I can see how, as a new agent, you probably saw a lot of agents that were more experienced doing everything themselves. So it does
That
make sense
really
you did that.
was, yeah, that really was normal because the whole team concept really, for our area, didn't really start growing until probably 6 to 7 years ago. Then you'd start seeing more teams developing and getting larger, but that was really normal, like just a bunch of
Right.
solo agents. I mean, I think at the time, just here in the Joplin area, I think we only had maybe one or two teams when I first
Hmm.
started, but that was it. Like, it wasn't normal to have a team or be a part of a team or create a team. It
Right.
was
I
soloing.
think there might have been some, like, maybe, and I don't know in your area, there might have been like a in-house transaction coordinator that for a
Yeah,
fee you could, they'd help you with your, but that was about it, right?
that was about it.
So that's interesting. When you think about anyone out there who may be listening
Mhm.
and they're 17, let's say they're 16, let's say they're like me and they were playing realtor when they were 8 years old and annoying their siblings and family. Because what would you advise to them? Because I guarantee you, if they're thinking about following the path that you followed,
Yeah, for
taking
sure.
their licensing class in their senior year, scheduling that exam, and starting straight out of the chute when they're 18. Maybe they're saving all their money right now, so they've got a nest egg and they can go full time in real estate right out of the gate. You know that they'll be getting a lot of pushback, a lot of questioning, and a lot of that. What would you say to that person if that teenager is listening right now
Yeah, for
and
sure.
they want, when they're 32,
33, yeah.
they want 33, they want a team with a buyer division and a director of operations and closing 165, 170 homes in a year. What advice would you give them right now?
The biggest advice would be, well, I have several pieces of advice, but one of the biggest things would be stick to a lead generation source and just stick to it. Show up and do it. Don't try to pick 10 different type of lead generation activities because you won't really fully succeed at all 10. It can get overwhelming. Stick to one. A lot of people think that you get into the business and it has to be phone calls. It doesn't have to be phone calls. A lot of people don't want to be on the phone calling people. I personally do. It could be face to face, but pick something, just pick one source of lead generation and be consistent with it, and the business will come. Show up, do the lead. I mean, it's really simple, and it's not like we tend to make it so difficult, but it's being consistent. I mean, if you think about it, showing up and calling people, that's probably pretty boring. But if you're consistent with it, it can yield you a huge business.
Correct.
What I do daily is there's nothing significant about it. I'm calling people and just connecting the dots.
Right.
But we tend to overthink it and, well, gosh, I need business. Well, you have to pick a lead generation source and just stick to it and just be consistent. I'm
Right.
doing the same thing I did 15 years ago.
Yes.
Like I started calling people and I'm still calling people every day.
Right. Well, you and I even spoke, it was sometime in the last couple of months, and, looking at, because you're having a great year, and we wanted to add even more to it. And we were talking about, wouldn't it be great to have some more listings? And what did we say? I said, hey, are you
Plus,
calling the for sale by owners?
yeah,
Right. Yeah. So it is, I thought about that when you were sharing that.
for sure.
So talk about finding a skill and a source, refining it, and then having it be a long-term part of your career. It's incredible what that can do. It's
And for
building that
sell by
strong
owners,
foundation.
yeah, for sell by owners aren't and expireds aren't our majority, but it's what
Correct.
laid the
Yeah.
foundation. And right now, a lot of it now is just repeat and referral. But you have to stick to one and just do it
And
consistently.
just do it.
A lot of people,
Yeah.
they don't get the results they want, and then they give up. Well, you have to show up every day.
Well, what else would you? It's when I hear you say that, I hear you saying, treat this as if it is a job or a company you own, right?
That
And
is
and
absolutely
show
right.
up and follow a schedule and
Right. Yeah,
yeah,
showing up following a schedule. And another thing would be, and I tell a lot of new agents that come through the office is you have to practice every day. Practice
yes.
conversations, the scripts. Get with someone and just practice every day. Because the more you practice, the more smooth and natural it sounds.
And you
You're
can
hearing all these
listen.
different objections. The more you practice, you'll be able to handle any objection that comes your way.
Absolutely right. That to me, it's bordering on malpractice if an agent does not do that because that's actually how you know how to handle
Right.
not just questions the client has, but all the situations that arise over the course of a listing or a buyer transaction. It's how you actually learn our trade, and it is how you become that trusted advisor where people feel confident that you're going to protect them, assist them, and help them achieve their goal. I mean, it's really critical. What would you tell them to say to people that, whether they're well-meaning or they're snarky, like, oh, little Johnny, you can't do that when you're 18. What what would you recommend they say?
Oh, do it anyway.
Do it anyway. That's right.
Yeah.
Good.
Exactly. Yes.
What are your favorite parts of our industry?
I would say so. Even though, I show up and I do the same activities every day is still different. I think that's what I like about it the most. Every day is different. You really don't know what's going to happen. You don't know who's going to call in. So probably just the fact that it's different every day. And there's so much to real estate. I mean, there's wealth building. If you want to expand into different cities and still work out of your main hub, you can do that. I mean, there's so many possibilities to this industry. You can refer business to people and make money that way. I mean, there's just so many different aspects to it. I think that's what I love about it the most.
Right.
We recently started building houses. That's a leg of my business. I mean, we're developing a small subdivision, and 32 houses are going to go there that we will be selling. So, I mean, there's just so many different aspects of it.
And you expanded into northwestern Arkansas very successfally.
Yes,
So
it's close to
you've
home,
expanded your
and
whole.
yeah, we wanted to target a higher price point, and it's close, and it's been working out pretty
And
good so
so
far.
many great multifamily options. Yeah, so just it's a close yet a little bit different market. And I believe you also have owners and buyers that oftentimes own in both or go back and forth between the two. So it's a
I
very
go back and
natural fit.
forth, and yeah, Northwest Arkansas is it's booming right now, and we get a lot of people from Missouri that want to sell and relocate that way.
Right.
That's a part of the reason why I decided to get licensed there, because there was a lot of business there that I was missing by not having a license there.
Right.
People moved that direction. That started about 4 to 5 years ago, and now it's just taken off.
So I have jumping back to your team, I have a question about a timeline question. So after the first 5 years, you started bringing on some leverage. And then that allowed you to sell even more because you were like, now I have more time to get more listings, right?
Yes.
When did you make the decision and how old were you when you decided to hire buyer's agents for your team?
Yeah, so I made my first hire. I made my first buyer agent hire in 2016. So I was 6 years into the business. And that's when I said, I don't want to show houses anymore. So I hired that. I hired the first buyer's agent because I was hitting a ceiling every year of 50 transactions. So I went from 50 to 79
Isn't that great?
from putting that hire in.
That's amazing. And started a great career for the buyer's agent because they were successful too. So you were 23-ish, 24?
24, well, let's see, 20, yeah, 24, 25, somewhere in there.
How many people did you interview before you made the job offer for the first one? Two. Okay, good. All right.
There was another agent that was already she was already an agent. She was on another team at the time, and I think she was just burnt out. So
Mm-hmm.
I interviewed her, and she's like, "I just want to get out of real estate." I was like, "Okay, well that's fine." And then the other one came along, and it ended up working out good. She was in a whole different industry. She was actually selling newspaper ads for a local
Yeah.
newspaper company. And she was hitting a ceiling. She was their top seller selling ads. And that's how I knew her, because she would come in and sell us real estate ads to buy.
Right.
So she's like, I want to do something else. I was like, well, get your real estate license and let's
Come
do it.
work for me.
And she's like,
We'll
well, I
work
got to meet.
together.
Yeah. And it's worked out ever since. She's still on the team, and it's been great.
So can we give her a shout out?
Yes. Her name's Liz Sherrick.
Awesome. So Liz, your very first agent hire is still on your team.
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
want to stress that for a moment. So I know that our topic is probably attracting a lot of younger, probably teens and early 20s agents that feel like they can do it, but they're getting pressure or resistance from their inner circle or their circumstance. If anyone is listening to this that is longer in real estate, I want to make sure they heard that your first agent hire in 2016 still on your team
Yes.
and is successful and thriving and is a valued senior member of the team,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Out of curiosity, is Liz older than you, younger than you, or around the same age?
Yeah. She's older. She's 42.
Okay. So, also, anyone listening, you were, what did we say, 24-ish?
24, 25. Yeah.
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 And you were able to hire someone who was already at least 10 years, 10, 12 years older than you.
Right.
And she has stayed with Jonathan Leach team and has grown with the team. She is, I believe, because you've shared some of what you do and supporting your team and building their own personal wealth, she is really thriving,
She is.
correct?
She is.
Yes. Okay.
She really is.
So
She has a great buyer business. It's a ton of referrals from her sphere. I mean, she really does. She does a good job. She does a really good job with the buyers. She's got a great presentation, and she's good. She's really good.
and you also have other team members who have stayed on the team for what I would consider in our industry to be a long time.
Yeah,
Don't you have?
we really have small turnover rate. I've really only gone through 2 transaction coordinators. I've had, and that's because I feel like that role can be a high turnover role, like where they kind of
Yes,
like stay.
it definitely can. I feel like clearly you had drive, determination, sales skills. You did have a fascination, I'm assuming, with architecture, houses, people, and agents, right? As you came into it. I think one of the underlying talents that was within you is that you have natural leadership skills. And I say that because of the longevity that you have with members that enter your world. Is that something that you had an awareness around, or do you
Not
find
really.
yourself today like, well, here I am, Jonathan Leach team, we're in this together? Your team definitely does have a feeling of you all are side by side, arms locked together, moving forward together. So I think that it came so naturally to you that you didn't really even realize it was there.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was there, and I feel like I do a fairly good job of being vulnerable
Yes,
because that's just how I am. I'm always really relying on my team when things arise. I'm like, guys, what should we do? Like, I'm always asking their input. It's not about just what I
that's
want
right.
my way
Right.
only. Hey, what are we going to do about this? So we're having a
Yeah, that's what I
strong.
mean. Like it I don't perceive that on your team, which of course you own the business. So sometimes you may have to make a policy change or just inform them of something that might be a new tool or a tool that's going away, things like that. But in terms of like the communication style and as you said the collaboration of the team, that's why I envision you. It's not like you facing them, telling them what to do and moving ahead. I see you all as that like arm in arm
Oh,
together moving forward.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it is. That's how it's always been. That's how it's always
Yeah.
been. I feel like and I feel like that's agents and people that work with me. They appreciate that when they have the buy-in and they have the input, and I trust their input. And it doesn't matter how long they've been in the industry. I could make a hire tomorrow, and they could be new, and I'm going to trust your input. Like, tell me what we should do differently. How can we navigate this market together? Or what can we change in this business to gain more business? So it's like we're in this together, and it's not about
Yes.
my way, and this is how we've always done it. So we're going to stick to
Right,
it.
right. Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I just think first off, kudos on a great year, capping off many other great years.
Yes.
The having the longevity of members on your team, that is something out of a career of 15 years that you have many things to be proud of. That's a very significant one because you're impacting agents and staffs, you're impacting their lives, not just with each lead or sale, but because you also offer that support in wealth building, money management, investments, growth. And I'm just proud that you decided for yourself what you were going to do and then you made it happen.
Yeah. No, I love it.
I feel like the thing that's interesting to me, and I really don't recall the date, I know that reality TV had a little bit of a foothold in 2010, but it was not like it is today. It definitely blossomed from like the recession on. So I do feel like that was a natural, you just had that you were attracted to the industry itself, what it was selling and the people. So I think that's really cool. I feel like today there's a lot of young people who have been exposed to all the reality TV. How many channels do we have now specifically dedicated to real estate, right? I mean, come on.
A
And
lot
then it's
more
so funny,
today than there was. Yeah.
for sure, right? So I feel like there's probably a large group of younger people that look at it and they're like, wow, I want to be a part of that. And they feel like they can't. So I want to reinforce what you said. If you have the desire and the drive, just do it. You're not going to regret taking the action. Regret comes more from the actions you don't take.
I was once told the best decision to make is one that will allow you to make another decision. So
There you go.
if it doesn't work, then do something else. I mean, make another decision. Change, so it's give it a shot.
And there's room. There is room in the industry. A lot of people talk about how there's so many agents and it's saturated. No, it's not. Are there a lot of agents? Yes. But there's a lot of
There's
people.
enough business to go around, and there's not
That's
everyone's
right.
doing the same thing you're doing as far as getting those clients.
That's right. And there's a lot of people that have a real estate license for other reasons. They're an attorney and they like to have it in their back pocket, or they automatically get it in their state when they pass the bar exam, or they do a couple flips and they want to manage their own portfolio. So
Exactly.
don't be afraid of numbers. Don't look at the numbers of NAR. Just know that if you decide that you're going to do it, there is room.
Yes.
A. That B, the average agent is 58 years old and female. We have one of the highest average ages in an industry of any industry, right? So please, please, young people, join us. Jump in. There's the pool is comfortable. So get in here if you are younger and you're considering it. I would say come in, believe in yourself, make it happen.
For sure.
Make some good choices about where you're going to launch your career and listen to your inner voice more than anyone else's voice and just believe in yourself and make that happen. Do you have any final thoughts that you want to share on getting into the industry young?
No, like I said earlier, just if you decide to get into it, just pick a lead generation source and just be consistent with it. It's
Yep, I agree.
all
All
about
right. Well, thank you so much again, Jonathan Leach, Jonathan Leach team in Joplin, Missouri, and Northwestern Arkansas with KW, Keller Williams Elevate.
me.
And if anyone wanted to reach out to you, I'm going to have all your contact information in the description. What is the easiest platform? Is there a platform or a way that they could reach out to you that you'd like to
They can
share?
email's fine, and you'll have
Okay.
that information up. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you for being here today. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see what happens in the next 15 years.
Yes, me too.
It's going
Thank
to be
you.
fun. All right. Talk to you later.